Hey everybody, it's Bobby with KCA Ranch and Homestead. I'm going to try to put out a short video today on how to sharpen a chainsaw with the handheld Stihl. That's not S-T-E-E-L, S-T-I-H-L sharpener. I will be sharpening a Stihl chainsaw, but I think it will work on any chains that have the same basic size and gap. I'm not an expert on all that, so you'll need to read the instructions on the sharpener. I think I paid about 38 bucks for the sharpener. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'll also show you on video. I'll be right back. Let me get everything set up. Alright, the things you will need is a chainsaw. The instructions say to put it in a vise, put the blade in a vise, but that's not really convenient for me. I do have a vise over there on my little workbench, but there's just not enough room to work. So what I did is put it on the edge of this picnic table, clamped it down with a carpenter's clamp. Thanks, Doug McNeil, for letting me steal all your clamps. And then I put a clamp behind it so that when I push on the sharpener, it doesn't move. So let's take a look at the sharpener. It's got a blade for, it's got a rod guide for the teeth that are facing this way, and then we're going to flip the chainsaw around and catch the teeth that are facing the other way, so you'll get all the teeth. The other thing you will need is a Sharpie, so you know when you get back to your first tooth that you sharpened. And as you can see, I Sharpied it. It'll wear off whenever you're cutting, and that's where I started. Well, that's where I will start. So basically we're going to be doing, from this angle, we're going to be pushing the rod through that way on every other tooth. Skip this one, catch that one, skip this one, catch that one. And then when we get to the end and we run out of room, I'm going to just rotate the blade around and keep going until I get back to tooth number one, and I'll know that I'm finished. And I have used this sharpener about 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and it really worked. I used to take my blades and drop them off at a shop. They'd charge 8 bucks to sharpen them. It's kind of out of the way. I'd have to pick them up, and there's no shops out here in Centerville where I live now, so looking for other options. I know there's a lot of electronic sharpeners or motorized sharpeners and things like that, but this thing fits in my case underneath the chainsaw, and I can have it out in the woods with me. And I got a lot of woods, almost 21 acres of trees, and something's always on the ground and needs cut up for firewood or to clear a trail or a fence line. I mean, just the other day we had a dead tree fall right on our power pole and the fence behind it. Luckily it was a rotten dead tree and didn't do a lot of damage. So let me get set up where I can try to film this and show you what's going on. So you can see how the tooth, I'm calling it a tooth, that's probably not the right word, but you can see how it's got an angle, and your rod that fits in there needs to match that angle. So you're not going to push it straight through because you won't be flush with the angle. And I know this is a crappy video as usual, but you want to follow the angle so it will look like this, and you're going to push the sharpener kind of straight through. You can hear it wearing on the tooth. Not the most smooth because I'm doing it with one hand, but you would have one hand on each of those handles and just lightly run it through. After the first or second one, I don't hear a raspy sound, which means it's pretty good. I'll move on to the second one. Sounded good. Move on to the third one. Now, keep in mind I'm skipping every other one, and only the ones that are at this angle. One more on this one. Felt really smooth. Skip one. Get over here on this one. Make sure my angle's good on my tooth, which is about right there. Had a little rasp to it because it's dull. Already quiet. One more. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish all the teeth on this side. And then I'm going to flip the chainsaw around, and I will also have to flip this over to get that other angle, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Be right back. Another tip that I forgot to say is you will know when you have the right angle whenever this plastic guide here is flush with the bar of the chainsaw with your blade. So wrong, right there. See how everything's flush and lined up? That puts it at, I believe, a 30-degree angle, which is the angle of the cut. I think that's what I read. So if you just keep that flush, lock your wrist, and just keeping everything flush between that gray plastic and the bar. See, that's wrong. You just you'll feel it when it's up against the blade, and you'll hear it. And when you finish up, you'll be flush again with this part. So anyway, let me finish this side and then I'll show you the other side. Okay, I've got the chainsaw spun around. I got my handy camera helper out here, Mary. So I'll flip this over, and now I'm going to be sharpening the teeth that are angled this way. Earlier we did the teeth angled this way. See my Sharpie mark here? I'm going to use that again. I'm just not going to start with that tooth. I'm going to start with the one next to it. So I'll get my angle. I know my angle's right when this is flush with this bar. That's wrong. I get it flush, and then we're going to give it 2 or 3 light strokes. And then I'm going to skip the tooth that's facing away from me and do the next tooth facing towards me. Same thing. Wrong. Flush. Level. Also, you want it level. You can hear the rasp on the first one, just like I said earlier. It's taking off that metal and getting it sharp. And then we're going to skip one. And if you're not filming, and if you're in a good workplace, you can do it quick. So I'm running out of room over here. So I'm going to finish this one. See, my tendency was to go that way because I'm out of room, but I got to make sure I get that in there flush. And I am out of room. So what I'm going to do, I'm working on this one, so I'm going to pinch it. And I'm going to take it around to the top and stop. So I'm on that one, start right back at that one. Get everything flush. And it won't take you 2 minutes if you're set up right. You can see my chainsaw's moving. I don't have the best clamp system, but it is working for me.
I gotta go.
So you can see how easy that is once you get your groove. And I'll just keep going around, pulling the chain until I get back to the Sharpie mark. And that's it for sharpening using the Stihl handy sharpener. I don't know if that's the name of it, but that's what I call it. It's on Amazon for about 38 bucks, unless they went up. Thanks, Joe Biden. Y'all don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. Adios.